and welcome back to Why This Film, the podcast where we reach back into your childhood, pluck out a movie, give it a rewatch, and have a chat about it. I'm Emily Slade, and welcome back. You watched it so many times before, and now you're gonna watch it again. But it's been so many years since you last saw it, and now you show it to your friends, and they're like, What?
What am I watching?
Why this film? And I'm joined today by Lily. Hello.
Hello.
Welcome. This is your first time entering the Why This Film realm. I'm very excited.
Oh, I'm so excited. Thank you for having me.
Oh, thank you for coming. Very exciting because your chosen movie is 1978's Grease, the IMDb breakdown. Good girl Sandy Olsen and greaser Danny Zuko fell in love over the summer when they unexpectedly discover they're now in the same high school. Will they be able to rekindle their romance? Why this film?
What is a greaser? I mean, I get it's
literally
grease.
Gonna ask you because I never understood why Grease was called Grease, and I was hoping you were gonna be able.
I think it's called grease because they use a lot of hair grease. They use a lot of hair
Right.
grease in their hair, don't they? The T-birds.
Yeah.
But can you call someone a greaser?
Is
Doesn't
a greaser...
feel like it's a nice thing.
No, I'd call someone a greaser if I didn't like them and they were in the basement a lot with lots of acne and long greasy hair. But is it something to do with cars?
Oh, maybe. I always thought it was just something to do with the hair grease, man. That's what I thought.
Okay,
but I could be wrong.
Yeah, so according to the dictionary that comes up when you type things into Google, a greaser is a motor mechanic or unskilled engineer or a young man with long hair who belongs to a motorcycle gang.
That makes a lot more sense, and they do love cars and they do that car. That makes a lot more sense. I think I just got it in my head when I was really young, so it's just stuck, you know. It was because of the hair grease.
The hair grease, yeah, which they do use a lot of. And I mean, so many questions for you. So this came out in 1978. Mm-hmm. How did you end up watching it as a child of the 90s/early 2000s?
Okay, so what happened is I used to go and stay at my grandparents' house all the time, like you know did, and they had this recorded they recorded it on the TV on a VHS, you know, like on how you did that back in the day.
Classic.
And I don't know whether that original VHS version that they have that they recorded from the TV is the one that my mum and her sister used to watch, or whether they used to watch it back in the day and then it came back on the TV and my grandparents were like, record it. I mean, they recorded everything when it was on the TV. They had hundreds of VHS that they never watched again. But they had this. And so I don't know whether it's the original one that my mum used to watch or it's just one from the TV. But I was there one, and I literally was, I was younger than 10 years old when I watched it. Maybe, I was young, and every single day I watched it. Every single day when I was at my grandparents' house. That's how obsessed I was. I still know, I know the words, I know I know it, and I haven't watched it in, well, apart from for this podcast, I haven't watched it in years, and I know it all.
Crazy. It's such a one, isn't it? I can't even tell you how I first watched Grease, but we had it on vinyl, and I did eventually get it on DVD. I saw the stage show, and I feel like it was one of those ones that was just on TV all the time as well. And I was the same. I was under 10 when I was watching it, where it says on IMDb it's an A. That's an American rating. I'm not quite sure what that means, but
it's probably like a 12, maybe.
I would fucking hope so, because as someone,
but also we had the censored version, because they obviously put it on either daytime TV or whatever and then recorded it from daytime TV. So there are so many scenes that, even though I've seen it since then, there are so many scenes that still feel new. I'm like, that didn't happen in the censored one. You didn't see that sex scene. Well, not really sex scenes, obviously, but the canoodle, you didn't see that. And you definitely didn't see the bit where she told him to, what did Rizzo say to Danny? So are you going to go and flog your log or something. I was like, whoa, definitely don't remember that.
Yeah.
So there was a lot that was cut out. I mean, it was a heavily censored version, but even then, it's raunchy as hell, man.
It's raunchy as hell, and I think I would have preferred that version. Like, I'm gonna dive straight into like my personal problem with Grease. Um,
Okay, go on.
it fucking terrified me as a child. The worst thing that was gonna ever happen to me was gonna be puberty. I didn't want it at all. For whatever reason, I was like, absolutely not. No way. I don't want anything to change. My body is perfect as a prepubescent child. Don't want any of that bullshit. What do you mean I'm gonna fucking bleed? If something bleeds nonstop for 5 days, like it should be dead. Like that's not
Yeah.
normal. Don't want that to happen. And then
Mhm.
Grease comes along and it captures that essence of teenagehood. So if you're a teenager watching it, you're probably like amazing. When you're a prepubescent child terrified of puberty watching it, you're just like physically ill from the amount of references to like pregnancy and
Yeah.
masturbation
Yeah.
and like
Yeah.
being teenagers. And it doesn't help that they're obviously all like 37 playing 16, so it's even more
Literally, they're all
frightening
so
because they
hard.
like
Yeah.
they have like
But they look
crow's
it.
feet.
But they look old, like it's creepy as hell. Like it's they okay, no, they don't look old. That's not fair. They don't look old, but they look too old to be
They
saying
look
those kind of
they look
things.
way too old to be playing,
Yeah.
and like I've read in places that it was on purpose to sort of be a callback to the, because there's the 20-year rule. So this is made in the 70s, but it's set in the 50s because you're meant to be obsessed with the sort of 2 decades prior to your current one. So in the
Oh.
70s there was a lot of 50s stuff going about, and
Mhm.
this was apparently a homage where in the 1950s they would cast adults as teenagers. But then that's
Yeah.
something that they do now when you think of Riverdale, so they can get those sex scenes in and not have to like break the law.
Yeah. But
But at
they're still
least
super
they
young.
try
Though.
and yeah,
Yeah,
make
but I
them
feel like
look
in
vaguely
Riverdale,
young.
they're still super young. Yeah, they're still super young. Like being 32 and being Nikki, I'm sorry, but Nikki looks like, obviously I don't want to be mean, but he looks like he's I don't know. He
Kanicki's
just looks
pushing
like,
40. Like
yeah,
let's
and
not beat around the bush.
he doesn't look, he looks like he's had a hard time with drugs a bit,
Yeah.
in the, it's like he's the kind of the friend that's always high,
That's like
in Great.
just got out of jail.
Something's not right, but anyway, but I mean he's super hot, so it's kind of fine, but
Yeah, in like a
yeah,
yeah, in like a
in that kind of
way.
gross way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
um
So
so
not, not Nikki, but
yeah. The secret's out now. Um
yeah.
Yeah, so Grease has been voted countless times over the years as the nation's #1 musical. Like people can't get enough of Grease. And
Mhm.
so often I'll be like, "Oh, Grease is so basic." And then someone will put the soundtrack on and I know every
Mhm.
single word to the Grease soundtrack. And I don't just mean that I can sing you Hopelessly Devoted. I don't just mean that I know the words to the title song Grease. I mean, I know Freddie, My Love. I know It's Raining on Prom Night. I know Born to Hand Jive. Like, the Grease soundtrack
Mhm.
fucking rocks.
It
It has
absolutely
hit
slaps.
after
It's so
hit.
good. It's so good. It's so good. But do you know what? I don't think that I'm ever in a situation where people put it on. And now I feel quite sad about that now.
That's really sad. Like, it happened to me quite recently. I was doing COVID-19 testing at a high school, and
Mm.
I was there all day processing these children's tests. And someone put the Grease soundtrack on. And of course, it's like people forget because there's only like 6 main songs in the musical. But then
Mm.
the soundtrack has like 32 songs because it's so good. And so it lasted like a good like hour or whatever. And I was like singing along and singing along. And then I like kept singing along and singing. I was like, fuck me, I know all the words to the Grease soundtrack. This is amazing. And like
Yeah.
you, I hadn't heard it in years. But the next
Mhm.
time I'm around you, I will make a point of sticking it on because it needs to
You
be
have
heard
to.
in its entirety.
I think the people I hang around with them, like for the majority of my life, I don't think they're Grease fans. I just have that feeling.
Yeah,
And
which,
that's
you know,
a real shame. I should reconsider who I spend my time with. But But
Well, I consider you one of my best friends, and yet here I am on the sort of anti-Grease train. Even though the soundtrack is banging, it it's just got that little bit of phobia for me still. I don't know why.
look,
Because
I get it, but I think we've discussed this many times. You and me were completely different kids.
it's
Like
very true.
you would have been scared of me at school, and so I think I wasn't scared by Greece. I was like super excited to just.
Yeah.
I looked at it like, okay, this is what being older is,
Yeah.
and I'm going to be part of the Pink Ladies. And am I a Rizzo or am I not? Am I a
Yeah.
Frenchie? Am I not? Am I a combination of it? Marty's the one you want to be, really, but
Oh,
that's.
for sure.
And also, we need to talk about the fact that Jan is referred to as the fat one in the group, and she's size 10. As she's a size 8, size 10 at a push. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
She's tiny.
America.
And then I actually didn't notice that until this time round that I watched it, which just
Yeah.
shows like how much, because I probably watched it maybe 6-7 years ago, and I definitely didn't notice that then.
Yeah. Yeah, I
So,
mean, that whole conversation has evolved over the years, more recently, rapidly. And
mm.
yeah, we've just been essentially brainwashed by Hollywood as to what sizes are. Very famously, people were like, Marilyn Monroe's a size 14. I've seen Marilyn Monroe's dresses, and in Some Like It Hot, she might have been a 14, but in The 7-Year Itch, she was fucking 8. Like, I've seen the dresses. Like, you can't
but
stop
you
lying
even
to
look
us.
Yeah, but you literally look at her what's his name? Roger says to her, like, there's more to you than fat. And I'm like, but there's nothing, there's no fat. So like, what are you on about?
Literally. And like
Like,
that's
how
another thing with Greece. Like the whole point is that they're all like shitty teenage banterness.
Mhm,
Um
mhm.
and it's something that I can never get behind. I'm like, stop being shit. Like when Danny tries to like sexually harass her in the car, and you're like, you're our fucking hero. What are you doing? And she slams the door like on his erection, which is a
Yeah.
joke I didn't get for you. I was like, that's funny. She must have caught his like finger in the door or something. And then finally I was like,
You know
oh.
what? This time round, all of the boys were super, like, so creepy. Like, it was kind of gross. But then I was thinking, but I'm not excusing it, by the way. I don't
No.
think that should have been in it. But I reckon 17-year-old boys, man, I didn't go to school with boys until I was much old. Actually, that's a lie. How old are you when you're 7? You're in sixth form, aren't you? Like,
Yeah,
around that.
yeah. You're just
Okay,
before
I
uni.
did. The boys were, I mean, that's maybe
Yeah,
not
I mean,
fair. I don't
credit
know.
where
I
it's
just,
due.
yeah.
Greece is
Boys,
accurate.
they do just talk about sex, I guess. I mean, look, I don't know. I've not been in many boy groups when they've been like, but I can imagine that they do just kind of talk, and it's bravado, isn't it? That's the kind of,
Absolutely. And
look
like
at the virgins.
Greece is meant to be the sort of like teenage experience, and like especially in the 1970s and especially in the 1950s that it's trying to recreate. Without
Mm.
a doubt, this was the teenage experience. We're also seeing like, we're not following my favorite character and her friend. They're like goody two shoes head cheerleader.
Oh,
Yeah, but
Patty Simcock, whatever.
yeah.
I knew you'd like her.
Because that's who I was.
Fair
I'm like,
enough. She was
yay.
so
And then you watch this movie and she's like the villain or whatever. And you're like, shit.
And she built that whole like mascot thing, and then it just like broke on the dance floor. Oh, bless her. She was
Oh,
sweet.
man.
But I mean, this is the thing. They bully. This is what I was thinking about. Okay, normally when you have like, if you think of Mean Girls for reference, like you have like the bully, like the kind of like the popular bullies.
Mm.
And then at the end, they have like a resolution where they realize like, oh, maybe it's not good to be a bully. And like, maybe I need to reconsider my ways and be a better person. But actually, none of them have that. They just,
No.
there's no resolute. There's just like, oh, they're probably going to go on and carry on that way for a good few more years.
Honestly, like they get away with everything. There are
Yeah.
no consequences for their actions. The only good
Yeah.
thing that happens is that it turns out Rizzo isn't actually pregnant.
Yeah.
And like, again, that was
But
another
this is,
thing, just
yeah.
like all of these slangs that you don't understand when you're 9, where it's like Rizzo's got a bun in the oven, and I'm like, what the fuck does that mean?
I know. There are so many like little sayings and innuendos that I honestly just went right over my head, that I
Yeah.
just was like, ha 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 ha, so funny. And then now I look at it and I'm like, God, that's great. I mean, I'm not surprised I didn't get it back then. I'm also not sure I really know what it means now, but I know
Yeah.
that it is dirty. Like I know that,
It's not good.
but so many things like I still don't really know, to be honest. But even that bit when he was in Summer Lovin', when he talking about he took her bowling in the arcade, he's not even talking about that. He's talking about, doing something to her. And I just got it this time around.
Oh,
I was like, what? Yeah, because he does that thing with his hand. It's really grim.
yuck.
And I was
I
like,
mean,
oh,
that whole song is grim, and like the joke is that the girls are being really innocent and the boys are not being innocent. But when you're listening to it, you're like,
yeah.
yeah, I took her bowling in the arcade. But then he's like, no, I like shot my fingers off, like, bleh. And then Nikki's there. What does he say?
Yeah.
He's like, oh my god, what does he
Oh,
say that's like really bad?
but in that song,
Yeah.
we made out till 10 o'clock. Okay, that's not bad. But just the kind of like the difference between that, he says that and she's like, we drank we stayed
Yeah.
out till 10 o'clock. And she's like, what the hell? We made
Poor
out under the
Sandy.
stuff like that. I know, bless her. She
I'm
doesn't
gonna
know
have
what
to
she
Google
calls,
it.
she calls his car a sin wagon. It just cracks
Yeah.
me up. Like, no.
I mean,
And
it
he gives her a
is.
ring, and then she calls it his car a sin wagon. I mean, she must have been very, very pure, because like, I mean, even I don't know, it's quite like a chase thing. Do you know what I mean? Like I can't imagine
Yeah.
any like 17-year-old girls calling like that I know, calling a car a sin wagon. Like she must have been quite anti anything like that. And but then it's just she's clearly very, very sure that that's the way she feels. And then suddenly at the end, she's like, no, 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 now I'm bad, Sandy. And I've got like red heels on and
Why?
disco
Like,
pants. It's like, but it's not even like
it's,
she was in the middle and she was like, oh,
yeah.
maybe. She was just like, no, I am chaste. You will never go near me. And then, she's with all her hairs all voluminous. And we know what that means.
Oh, we know for sure what that means. I mean, it's it's the nation's number one musical, and it's the only thing I've ever seen that is so beloved that is literally like, change yourself for a man. Change
Yeah, that is true.
everything about you for a
That
man.
is
The
true.
last time she had a cigarette, she was like, Rizzo, I think I'm gonna be sick. And then all of a sudden she's like chugging one down and like stamping it out on the
Yeah,
floor, very
it's true.
famously sewn into that outfit. Cast
Oh,
and crew did not recognize her as she walked onto set. I mean, credits where it's due. Olivia Newton-John is very, very attractive lady, and like as
yeah.
Sandy, she, probably
She
changed a
rocks
lot of
it.
lives. But
Yeah.
it's just, and like all Danny's effort was to put his like little cricket cardigan on, where he was
No,
like,
that's
no, I should
hilarious.
probably like not be a dick anymore. And then she's like, don't worry about it, stud. I'm a dick, so
Yeah,
we can be dicks together.
yeah, it's very true. And then the ending, don't they fly off into the sky? I hate that bit. That's the only bit that I really, really despise.
I
Because I'm like,
really,
well,
yeah.
now it's unbelievable. Now,
Yeah.
now it's all lie. Now it's just been a dream.
It's just,
What's going on?
what does it mean? And there's so many stupid theories out there where
Maybe,
it's like Sandy
maybe it's a
drowned and
parallel
this was a
universe.
figment of her imagination. And
Yeah,
like,
or maybe a parallel universe with like Chitty
yeah,
Chitty Bang Bang, which
yeah.
actually is also a film that featured heavily in my childhood. But that bit, I
Yes.
was like, what's going on? But I
Yeah,
do love
it's
it.
such a bizarre ending. And again, it's just become one of those like iconic cinematic moments
Mm.
that like doesn't make any sense, and people are just like, Grease, what are you gonna do?
It's Grease. We excuse it because it's a classic, but
Yeah,
actually,
yeah.
I want to say there's a lot of Grease slander going on, but I actually do, I do love it a lot.
This is the
I
thing,
have
like
to say,
there's
I
there's
love
so
it.
much um around it that's odd and bad and delinquenty and terrible lessons, and perhaps that's why we all cling to it so much. It's like a bad movie, by which I mean it's like a it's like a rough and ready movie. It's like these people are just like teenagers and like they're gonna do what they want, and there's something quite, I don't know, subconsciously freeing about that. I mean, for a movie that's under 2 hours, they cram a shit ton. Like there's
Yeah.
a car race at some
Mm-hmm.
one point, there's a prom dance, there's a sleepover, there's a fucking
What else is
driving.
there's
Like
like
there's so
driving.
much.
Yeah, there really is. And the beginning, the beginning 20, 30 seconds of them on the beach, like that's all they needed. It was like, yeah, that was their time, was super nice. Like they just created the whole atmosphere with that music, and the kind of, they were
Yes.
looking at each other longingly, and then they kissed, and they just got a real sense of like, okay, they had a really romantic summer together. And
Yeah.
then, I mean, yeah, I think Greece is, I think that also the reason why it's so good is because it's like, look at these teenagers who are just kind of doing what they want to do and being all teenagery, not knowing what's going on, and being bad people, hurting people, but also being sad. But then they're like amazing dancers
Yeah.
and they're singing. And every single time they dance, I remember as a kid, I tried to learn all of the dances.
Yeah, that's
Even
valid.
now, I'm like, oh, I want to get up. I just want to dance and do the dance, because it's just
Yeah.
infectious.
It is. Infectious is the exact right word. It's
Mhm.
so fun and joyous and um yeah, it's just it's like West Side Story. It like made musicals cool. Like people think of
Yeah,
musicals and they think of like Oklahoma or The Sound of Music and they're like, oh, but then like, you know, Grease comes along and everyone's like, musicals are cool.
yeah.
Like I want to be a T-bird.
I guess it's like High School Musical for like this, like the 70s. I
It
guess,
it
like,
was. I would argue that High School Musical does a better job of not being
oh
so change for the one you love. Just it doesn't do a better job overall. I'm just saying that it's better at being like, we don't have to stick to the status quo, because what's so frustrating about the whole of Greece is
mhm,
that Danny has problems and then has no consequences for his shitty actions, because on the beach at the beginning, when love is a many splendid thing, he's a sweetheart. He's just having a lovely holiday with Sandy and they're in love and it's great. And she's like, Danny? And he's like, Sandy. And then his friends are like, and he's like, oh, I'm a fucking douchebag now. And she's like, what the fuck? And he's like, yeah, man, I'm just a fucking douchebag. And he remains a douchebag throughout the entire movie until she
mhm.
changes to become also a douchebag, and then they can go off and be douchebags together. Like he adheres to the friendship peer pressure, and that never relinquishes. She has to adhere to the peer pressure and join him on the bad side. They can't just
True.
have a nice, loving relationship where he learns that actually he can be in the school musical and go out with the science geek. And defy his basketball dad. You know, like High School Musical does a better job of being like, be who you want to be, not who your friends think you should be, kind of thing.
Very
But
true.
then maybe
Very
that's why
true.
people like Greece, because secretly we all want to get sewn into hot pants and look super sexy walking into the carnival.
I mean, probably, but also, okay, but maybe High School, but then, okay, so when did, I guess there's been like a shift, right? And you're the film buff, so you tell me if I'm wrong, where like maybe back in the day, there was less focus on being this utopia and kind of like representing everything, like everything has to have a moral kind of like, like a moral ending, or everything had to have like a reason or teach you something, whereas like actually Danny being a bit of an asshole is actually the complete true nature of a 16, 17-year-old, trying to impress his friends, not really going with what he wants to do because there's peer pressure, and everyone everywhere adhering to peer pressure because that's literally what we did at 16, 17.
Yeah,
I think I
agreed.
think
Like it's the
maybe
mirror
that's
up
what
to
they were
life.
trying to, yeah, maybe that's what they were like, look, being a teenager is actually kind of a bit like this, where you don't want to be the geek and no one really wants to go out with the girl who is really nice and you have a great time with, but she drinks cartons and skips, like, I don't know, it's kind of, I'm not saying that that's right, by the way, but I'm kind of thinking of like when I was at school,
Yeah,
like that kind of thing. And like Danny Zuko is, I mean, the reason I watched Grease every single day was because Danny Zuko was my first crush and I was actually obsessed. Like I
I
was
was
like,
gonna ask. Yeah.
I was obsessed. Like it was not good. I mean, I used to get sad at the thought that we would never be together. Like I genuinely used to sit
Oh.
there in it's like a 10-year-old and just in turmoil, like we will never ever be together. And it used to just tear me apart. And even now I look at him and I'm like, you are a god. Like you just are. He's a god. And
I've honestly
not
never
not
seen
not
it.
John Travolta is a not now, can I just say, like
Yeah, not
there's
Scientology
too much, there's too
Travolta.
much, there's too much now. He's gone down in my estimation. But back then, and he was 23, I think he was the youngest of them all.
Nice.
In that when he wears the suit with the pink, oh my god.
Yeah, that is
God,
valid. And what a dancer.
what a
Um,
dancer.
Men who can dance just win. So like if you're
Yeah,
listening to this and you're trying to think, how do I impress the ladies? Fucking go and
dance.
get dance lessons. Like there
But
is nothing better.
don't dance like a music video. Like I'm not interested in that.
No,
I
don't
want you to
bump and
dance like
grind.
Greece. I want you to dance like in Greece. Okay,
Yeah.
that's how I want you to
Yeah,
dance.
you need to go
And then
get your
take,
Latin and ballroom. You need to get your like hand jives, your
yeah,
like bops, your
yeah.
mashed potatoes.
Saying this, like I can't do that, but I'm like, you will do it, and
Yeah,
I will watch.
you do it.
I mean, I would love to learn. It just all of them. And also another thing, something I also didn't appreciate when I was young is that it's super funny. Like it's very, very funny. Like there are characters in there that are hilarious. That like if
Yeah,
I watched that now and that kind of character acting was on my TV, I'd be like, wow, that's really good. And like Marty,
yeah,
she's brilliant. Like
yeah,
she's so funny. And French, I mean, all of them, but they're all, it's like proper character acting, like I look for a lot of them. And I think
yeah.
I didn't appreciate that when I was younger, obviously.
No, and I think subconsciously it's like the Spice Girls, isn't it? There's sort of one for everyone. Like, do you
Mhm.
define yourself as the like funny, quirky one? Do you define yourself as the like cool one? But they all get to be interesting and funny and have a role to play,
Yeah.
with their little quirks, like how one of them knows the toothbrush ad and one of them has a million pen pals that they keep on top
Yeah.
of, and like just really fun interesting things. Like I think we almost get more information about the girls than we do about the boys as well, which is really fun.
Yeah, yeah, I think that's true. The pink ladies are like they're aspirational. Like you want to be a pink lady, like you just
Yeah,
do.
yeah,
Um,
for sure.
and maybe you don't want to be the one that they made that just sits there eating Twinkies and like being it like whatever being. But she's actually really funny though. Like
Yeah,
she's like the Phoebe. I would say if you were kind of. I mean,
yeah.
I know Friends maybe isn't a good way to like you know what's the word? What's the word I'm looking for? Like to compare.
Mhm.
If I'm talking to you, friends maybe not
Yeah.
a good one, but
I know enough
he's
about
the one
Friends
who's
to
excelled.
understand what you
Yeah,
mean if you were to say something was a Monica or if something was
yeah,
a Phoebe.
yeah.
It's
Okay,
my
fine.
basic understanding of
Basic
Friends.
understanding. Yeah, like she kind of like dances how she wants to dance in the dance, and she kind of dresses. She's a bit kooky, like you
Mm,
know. I can actually maybe imagine. Maybe you don't want to be the one who's like, oh, she'll have a Twinkie, but she's
mhm.
still good, and she's still
Mainly because
great.
Twinkies are disgusting. But yeah,
Yeah,
and
what the
like,
hell?
yeah, they're so gross. Sorry,
These are not
America.
nice.
Deal
No,
with
I
it.
had one and I was like, I'm super excited because I've been waiting for years to try a
Yeah.
Twinkie. And it's like, but it's dry and it, but like you could get so many other things that are just better. Anyway,
Literally,
even
like I don't understand how they can be so bad.
yeah,
I love anything sweet pretty much, but a
mhm,
Twinkie was I was like, what the fuck? Um,
yeah,
and you know, it's not like on Wednesdays we wear pink. There's none of this like, what are you wearing? It's like she can
no,
wear a fucking full length tartan skirt and
mhm,
everyone's chill with it.
yeah, literally, and a big jumper, and then claim she's fat, whatever. that film.
Honestly.
That's the one thing that I think that's the thing I'm most cross about with the film.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the kind of the making advances at women a lot. But I have to say, it could be like that is the writer's problem, but I'm also wondering whether it's, I mean, would it be fair not to add that in, because I guess teenage boys do that. Do you know what I
And I
mean?
think that's the story that they're telling, isn't it? They're telling a
Yeah,
story about a bunch of horny boys and girls and
yeah,
their sort of troubled romances and their ups and downs. Um,
yeah,
and like that's sort of the where they're going with it. So I think, yeah, as much as, a modern audience can watch it and be like, I don't want sexual harassment in my movies, like it's all in
yeah.
good fun and no one's hurt, and
No,
it's the sort of teenage experience, it's the point of the
yeah,
story that they're telling, and it
yeah.
resonated with people, and it still resonates with people. I think that's what's so impressive. You
Mm.
think about other things that came out in the late 70s. No one's going on about Logan's Run in the same way that they're going on about Grease, you know?
I haven't watched that. But
No, no one has.
yeah, I haven't watched most things, but yeah, I mean, yeah, Grease is it's a cult classic, isn't it? And it
It
makes people
really
happy.
is.
But
Yeah, and like it's such an uplifting ending despite
mm,
technically having quite a bad message.
yeah, I mean, the messaging is literally like change, who you are, and then he'll love you. And I'm
Yeah,
not being funny, but we have that enough. We have that messaging
literally.
way too much, so it's not good. But then I guess, but then I also am wondering whether if that was how we were feeling in the 90s, it may have been even more, maybe was even more so in the 70s. I mean, I don't know, but
Yeah, exactly. Like I do think there's something to be said. There's it's sort of like how in Back to the Future they have the Biff character
mhm,
who's like a sex pest. But
mhm.
then so is George McFly. He's also a sex pest. He's just not as handsy. So everyone in the
Right.
50s is a sex pest, we are to understand. And then in the
Yeah.
1980s, Marty's a good guy and not so much of a sex pest. But like,
I mean, I mean, these references mean nothing to me, mainly because
sorry.
obviously I haven't watched it. But I kind of, but then actually, if you think about films that even were made in the 2000s, and they're even worse, like they represent women in even, yeah, they're even worse. They represent
Yeah,
women so poorly, and the relationship between men and women, and what we should do for love, and
yeah,
what makes us worthy. And actually, like, I know that that's bad, but you would think 40, 30 years later we would
it
be
would
in a
have
bit
gotten
better
better.
position. And I mean, we are, but
In
it's
some
kind of
ways,
like,
we're not.
in some ways, we haven't gone that far, and it's maybe just something that's happened in recent years where we're actually able to be like, hang on a minute. Because I think what happens if you watch them so much, and that's the narrative that kind of gets like constantly peddled, you actually start to maybe internalize that. So actually watching that is more of like a romantic outcome, and you romanticize that, and so you don't see a problem with it. You're like, oh, so cute, they kind of came back together because she changed, and da, 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 da. And you're like,
Yeah,
I want to change, and I want to be cool, and I want to
yeah,
blossom, da, 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 da. When actually you're like, well, hang on a minute, why can't she just keep wearing her plimsolls? I don't get it,
yeah.
you know?
Like, why can't she be herself and he stop acting like a twat and start acting like he
Yeah,
did before
yeah,
when no one else was around?
yeah.
Yeah,
Why
it's
can't a
it's
T-bird
interesting.
be with a nerd?
Yeah,
You know?
exactly. That's the real
Yeah,
question here.
that's the real question.
But it Greece passes the Bechdel test, I would argue. The Bechdel test being where two named women talk to each other about something other than a man, which, as you've mentioned, a lot of the 2000s sort of romance, musically movies, they don't pass the Bechdel test. And the reason Greece is able to pass the Bechdel test is because there's so many female characters. It's like if you've got a fucking high school that you got to run and you got a musical to put on at the end of the year, you go to Greece because there are so many characters for you to like
That's very true.
fill.
That's
And a
very
lot
true.
of them are women. So it's a
I'm trying to
really
think
good
of,
one for girls.
I'm trying to think of the conversations. They have the conversation around the table where they're talking about I'm trying to think actually of what the
Yeah, so
conversation
it's
was.
the they do pass the Bechdel test. Now, a lot of their conversations are about boys, but they
Mhm.
discuss like Frenchie's hair, and they
Okay.
discuss like Rizzo's pregnancy, and they talk about Sandy in the Sandra D song.
Mhm.
Um, so it is there. They are passing the Bechdel test, but as
Right.
yeah, I just tried to run through, and I was like, fuck me, like every single conversation they have is
Yeah.
about a boy. But there are some examples of them not talking about boys, and therefore it passes the Bechdel test. Because the whole idea is that this test is meant to be piss easy to pass, and the whole point is that often so many films don't pass it. And so that's quite commendable, considering I'd have almost given it a pass if it hadn't passed the Bechdel test, because it is a romance about the sexes, as it were.
Yeah, true. True. And
I
it's very
think
much the relationships between the boys
all
and the
of
girls,
them.
you know.
Yeah.
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 But
You've
and
got.
there is that interesting, I find the Rizzo and Sandy relationship very interesting because, from the beginning she's kind of hell bent on making her feel uncomfortable, and
Mhm.
she does that whole surprise thing with Danny. And I tried to work out, like, I think when I was younger I didn't really think about it very much, but Rizzo definitely likes Danny, doesn't she?
Yeah, in the sense that I think everybody likes uh Danny.
But I think they had a thing. I think there's
Ah,
background to this. I think they had a thing previously. And
okay.
I just think I think she's very jealous of Sandy. And that's
Yeah.
why she doesn't like her.
Oh
Um,
yeah, doesn't she make reference to like a previous summer or
yeah,
something
something like that.
when they
Yeah.
were
And I think she
younger?
hasn't got over that. But then she meets Kaniki and they're like perfect for each other. Um, but
Well, I disagree. I think Kaniki is a piece of shit, and I think Rizzo is an icon. So I really
yeah,
hope she
that's
dumps
true.
his ass like
She is
ASAP.
an icon. She is an icon. But Kaniki, Kaniki just needs to get off the drugs, man, and just
Whatever you're taking, Kaniki, whatever's distorting your face in that way. And I think, like, you're not wrong. I think the actor genuinely was an alcoholic or something, because Kaniki is supposed to sing Greased Lightning. And in the movie, Danny sings it because the actor who played Kaniki wasn't turning up to set. So they
oh,
were just like, John, you can sing it. Whereas if you go and watch the stage performance, it will always be Kaniki singing Grease Lightning. Like, that's his song.
yeah, see,
Um,
well, he needs to get off the drugs, find a 9 to 5, and just provide for Rizzo, and just allow her to just fly and flourish in the world, and just maybe
yeah.
yeah, not that she needs that, but I'm just saying if they're hell bent on staying together, which I
Yeah.
think they should. I'm a fan. But he needs to just come off the stuff and just
Yeah.
go
Oh
up
God,
really.
yeah, for sure.
Mm,
Yeah, I
mm.
mean, I guess you're meant to sort of see Rizzo and Kaneki as our sort of best friends, if this was a panto or a fairy tale, but also sort of sub antagonists ish, in that they both
Yeah.
cause sort of problems for the main characters. But then you meet people like Cha Cha and her
Oh,
fucking
yeah.
50-year-old boyfriend, and
Oh,
you're like,
oh my God,
they're
that.
the villains.
But
Like,
Chacha 40. She's 40 years old. There's no way she's not 40. I mean, she looks amazing.
literally.
But
Yeah, she's
okay, she's
clearly a
probably not
professional
40.
dancer, but
She's probably not 40, but what I mean is she looks 40 because she's meant to be 17, and therefore the difference is so stark. I just think she's 40, even though she's probably 30.
yeah, but I mean, and if she looks awful, her boyfriend,
She actually looks great, but she just
yeah,
doesn't look
but she looks she
17.
looks she looks very, very old
Mm.
than 16, especially because I think Olivia Newton-John was also quite close to the
She,
right
she, really-
age
no, she,
ish.
she was nearly 30.
Oh fuck me.
I know.
Why can't I look
Literally.
like Olivia Newton-John?
Oh, babe, you look better, don't worry. Um,
um
but yeah, I
yeah.
just
Yeah, Cha
yeah,
Cha's boyfriend is disgusting. Like, I think he's like diseased.
but he's got syphilis. Do you not feel like do you not feel like he played that part? Like that is exactly how I wanted him to look.
Oh God, yeah.
They
Oh
called him Crazy
yeah.
Face. He
The
was a horrible
antithesis
guy. Yeah, he was like
of
the
Danny.
villain. Like he was meant to look like that, and they cast him so perfectly.
Yeah.
Like
Oh yeah.
unreal. Yeah.
They really did. And like, yeah, he's arguably the main antagonist.
Yeah, for sure.
So then Cha Cha is the like also sub antagonist. Because yeah, like Rizzo and Kaneki are fucking nothing compared to Cha Cha and Crater Face, who are just
No, no, no.
like
Hashtag
the
creative face are
oldest
really
students imaginable.
they just stay in the school every year to just
Yeah.
create to just cause shit and they never graduate and they're still there now but they're still causing shit. That's what I think anyway. But there's this bit right where like and I don't know if I just noticed it this time and I noticed it before and I just forgot about it, but you know that bit where Sandy and Danny are they're dancing, everyone's crowding them, they're like maybe gonna win the dance contest, and then what's his face? I can't remember his name. I actually wrote down Sunny, the
Yep.
one with the afro
Yep.
of the three of he's one of the T-birds. He kind of like swoops in and pulls Sandy away, and then Cha-Cha comes. So it's kind of like his fault as well. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously, Danny could have gone after Sandy, sure, but he
Yeah.
wanted to win that trophy. Um, but yeah, I was just like, Sonny, what are you doing? Why are you being a dick, Sonny? Why?
Honestly, and it makes no sense. It's not like he's in cahoots with Cha Cha.
It,
Like it would have
but that's
made
what I
more
was thinking.
sense if Cha Cha's boyfriend
Did
um
it?
did that. But no,
Or
it's yeah.
or if Sonny really was obsessed with Sandy, but
With
we don't
Sandy,
see that.
yeah.
He's obsessed with Marty. We don't see that happen. And then they're all friends at the end. Very random. That little thing, very random. They could have literally done anything. They could have
Yeah.
done that he slipped and then or they literally that was just a bad choice in my opinion because all it did is just made all of these unanswerable questions that we'll never know.
Yeah. Very, very frustrating creators of Greece. I don't know why you've done this to us.
Yeah, I don't know why. Sonny wasn't a villain to me. He was always just the misunderstood. No one really fancied him very much, but we love him. But he ruined it.
He's destroyed everything.
Yeah,
Like literally everything.
yeah,
Um and oh god, doesn't Kaneki like pull Patty's dress
yeah.
like
He
up?
shows her pants, doesn't he? That's very naughty,
I
actually.
honestly couldn't think of anything like pour pig's blood on me. I would rather that than you like pull up my skirt in the middle of a dance and like
But didn't that happen
trap
to you?
me.
Didn't that
No,
happen? To you
no.
ever? Like you didn't get anyone, no one pulled your trousers down or showed your pants or anything like that.
If they did, I've blanked it from my memory, but I don't think I was ever prominent enough to warrant such attention. I tried to stay in the middle as much as possible, the in-betweener stage where you're safe.
I get you. I mean, it
Um,
didn't happen to me personally, but I know that it
no,
happened.
were you the one doing it to other people?
No, no way.
Bad girl, Lily.
No, no. Of course not. That I would never do that. No,
Never
no.
cross those boundaries.
Well, never. No, no, never. But yeah, it's kind of they're really mean to her. But then there's this bit where she like comes on to Danny and it's like really random. You know, she just like wraps her arms around him and then she's like, "Calm me," and it's like, why did she do that? Like,
Again, I think we're just meant to think that Danny Zuko is the coolest, handsomest, raddest dude in the
I mean, I can
entire
believe.
world. And that was another reason why I was always like, you're not that great, Danny. Like the
Oh, did you not
filmmakers
fancy
are
it?
really trying to make you look great, but
So you didn't have a crush on
never
him?
fancied Danny Zuko.
Yeah.
Not
Oh.
once. The Zuko I
Who would you
fancied was Avatar, The Last Airbender Zuko.
Okay.
Um,
But who would you go for out of the five boys? Or who would you go for out of the T-birds?
let me get pictures of them up because all of them are
I
ghastly.
reckon I know who you're gonna go for. I reckon I know.
Oh, let's have a look. Oh, yeah, it's got to be the one that looks like he belongs in like a sitcom. Um,
The blonde one.
No, 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 no. The one next to him in this picture that I've pulled up. It like
Oh, Judy.
yeah, the one that's not Kaniki, not Sunny, not Danny, not the blonde one, the remaining one.
Judy.
Because I think he's
Yeah.
like genuinely quite funny and down to earth. He doesn't ask, did she put up a fight? And other such inappropriate questions.
And actually, the blonde one is the one that did that thing where he was lying between those benches and looking at the
Yes,
girl's skirt. So we want to write him off, really.
absolutely. I mean, write them all off, let's be honest.
No,
Um,
not Danny. I think I need. I think his just that image of Danny Zuko is just gonna. It's always gonna live in my mind. It's gonna live there forever.
he's like
It's an important part of my, you
peak
know,
John Travolta.
develop.
I
Oh,
completely aesthetically, visually, I completely understand it in his gorgeous tux, in his tight t-shirts, when he's lounging all over the car. Like,
amazing.
I get it. I really, the cigarette hanging out of his mouth, I completely, he oozes cool and sex appeal, but his
Mhm.
personality is so shitty that I can't. And it's because he's a child that he's like, I want to do what my friends think is cool. And
I mean,
that
that's
just doesn't swing it for me.
when I was 10. That was all I needed.
Yeah, that's valid.
All I needed. But yeah, it's a great film. I always have a soft spot for it, you know, because I can
Yeah.
just literally imagine, I can just picture myself on my grandparents' sofa, just like my nan being like, what do you want to do today? And I was like, oh, I don't know, maybe watch Grease again. But I don't know, it's up to you. I don't mind. Like, and then I think she was just happy that I would just leave her alone for like 2 hours. Just like, oh, yeah, dinner. Okay, cool. How did you enjoy Greece today? Oh, it was really good. It was good. Delivered, yeah. And then the next day it would be the same thing. And I think because I was there, I stayed there a lot, but it wasn't like they were near my house or anything. So I think I
Yeah.
felt like I had to get everything out of the video. Like I had to watch it as many times as I could and exhaust it because I wasn't going to maybe watch it for another few weeks. Like I had to really watch it again and again.
Really
I mean,
ingrain it.
I could have just bought, surely we could have just bought the VHS. I don't think we had actually had a VHS player. I don't know, but I clearly didn't understand that you could just buy it.
Yeah. No, and like I had that. I had a Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat was the one for me, and I constantly
Oh,
asked for it on the filmed version with Jason Donovan, and I never got it on VHS. Every time we went to Asda, I was like, please, please, because again, it was like somebody had it, so every time I went around there, I would like consume
all right.
it.
Yeah.
Um,
But your parents probably didn't want to buy it for you because they probably didn't want you to watch it every day. Like, we
jokes
actually
on
need to
them.
save you. Yeah, we need to save you from this because it's not healthy to have an obsession with video. Like
Because
it's just not.
it's a mediocre musical and a poor film adaptation. I was like, I don't care, give it to me.
I love the songs. Do you know what? That main song in Joseph Technical Drink. I mean, it's good, isn't it? Everyone knows
I
it.
bloody love it. I bloody love Joseph.
Everyone
My
knows it.
dream role is to be the narrator in Joseph, and it has
Oh,
been since year 5.
oh
And
my
you
God! I
can't
think one
say that
day,
to people
well,
because they expect you to say fucking Elphaba or whatever. And I'm like, nope, the narrator in
do
Joseph.
you know what? I was the narrator for our we did Robin Hood, right? And I went to an all
Oh,
girls school, so like being Robin Hood was up for grabs. Like you could be Robin Hood, and I was like,
nice.
I thought that I was like head of drama. Like
Yeah, obviously.
I would be getting not that I was like the head of drama, but I was like, drama's my thing.
Yeah,
I'm
you
gonna be the main part. Like no
top
one else is
dog.
gonna get Robin Hood because if they do, I will be fucking angry and like it's not
Yeah.
happening. This is mine. You know, like I
Yeah.
was
Oh, God,
very
yeah.
protective over drama because I was shit at everything else and everyone else was good at everything else. And I was like, no, this is mine. But
Yeah,
anyway,
I
it
feel you.
went to it went to not me. And I was like, okay,
No.
whatever. And then they were like,
Bitch.
you're going to be the narrator. And I was like, you're giving me the narrator. Are you serious? I was livid. I was absolutely livid because I was like, I know what narrators do. And then they went into the forest. But actually, the narrator turned out to be a very excellent part. So, you know,
Nice.
I had a crystal ball. I had the
Oh,
most lines. I had a
yeah.
song. It was great.
This is the thing. As the narrator, you will always get the most lines, and they'll always give it to the likes of you and I because they're like, we need someone that's not going to fucking stumble over their words and is going to be able to remember all of their words, and like they will always give it to the best person. Whereas any, let's be honest, Lily, any fucking idiot worth two pence can play old Robin Hood, but not everyone can be the
Yeah,
narrator.
that's true, you know.
So it had to go to the top dog.
That's very true, actually. I was very proud of myself for that
Oh, I
because
wish I could have seen it.
no, you don't want to. It was apparently, I mean, this has nothing to do with Greece, but apparently, so this was when we were in year 6, so we were like, oh no, year 6? We were the head of the school, so we were like the oldest people in the show, you know, and they do that where they have like the main characters are the people in year 6.
Yeah.
And so I had all these people, so the people that were in the chorus were like sat on the cross-legged on the floor, like just kind of piping up every so often. And so I was kind of at the side of the stage at the front, and I had this crystal ball. I was like over this crystal ball doing lots of predicting and kind of all the fun stuff. And then once we'd done all of the shows, this girl in like year 4, this very precocious girl, came up to me and she was like, you stuck your bum out the whole time, and we were all laughing. I was like, wait, what? Oh, so I never forget that, and I wonder what she's doing now, but she ruined it for me.
The fuck does she think she is? How
Look,
dare you approach someone older than you? How
I
dare you
know,
attempt to humiliate them?
I know, absolutely no
Who do you
hierarchy. I
think
was
you are?
living,
You don't know
yeah.
the rules, little girl. We're going to have to take you out back and take a finger for that.
But
Honestly.
yeah, so apparently I was sticking my ass out the whole time, which actually I do understand and I appreciate would be very funny. But I was just
You're in the
bending over
moment.
onto this
Yeah.
crystal ball. I don't know what you want me to do. It was below me.
Yeah. You were
Anyway,
like
whatever.
in character. Like, has she ever been to a play before? Ugh. Year
Honestly,
fours.
honestly, disrespect, but it happened, and she can't take it away from me because I don't see her having any lines.
Yeah, exactly. Didn't even stick around long enough to see if she got a main part in year 6.
She definitely didn't.
Bitch.
So did you say you went and watched Grease at the theater as well? Yeah.
Yeah, for someone's birthday, they took us to see Grease in London. It was
Mm.
insane. And yeah, it's fun because they incorporate all the songs that you hear on the soundtrack are actually
Mm.
incorporated within the musical, which is quite fun. Like Patty gets to sing Raining on Prom Night, which is a
Right.
bop.
I mean, I
Um,
I saw it too, but I don't like. I genuinely don't remember. I remember it, but I don't really remember it.
yeah,
And
yeah,
but all
yeah,
I
same.
remember is that it was for my birthday, and my mum took me out of school. Like we lied and said that I was going to a doctor's appointment when really I was going to watch
Gonna
Grease,
see
and
Grease.
it was
That's
like the
such a
most.
Grease thing to do.
I know it was. I was so excited. It was like the most excited I'd ever been, and I was like, all I want to do is like talk to the cast. Like, is it going to be them? Like I was buzzing. Obviously, it wasn't them, and I was also like, why is he's not Danny Zuko? Like this is
Yeah.
upsetting. But I don't actually remember much of the play. But I do remember this one bit where like at the end that I don't maybe it was Danny or it was one of the T-Birds threw his comb into the audience, which is kind of dangerous actually, but whatever.
Yeah.
And I saw the girl who caught it and I was livid. I was like, how does she, like, did they not know it's my
The
birthday? Like,
audacity.
why did she get it? I really wanted the comb. And I probably
Yeah.
told people I want the comb because I was just like that.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's really fun. Yeah, so like, were you quite young when you went to see it on stage then still?
I must have been.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't have been older than 12.
Yeah. I was still primary school and like I look back now and I'm like, how? Like
Yeah.
under 10. Why was I
Mhm.
being taken to see Grease with 3 others my age? Like,
But it's kind of crazy because like if we were doing, let's say we were casting Grease now, we would
mm,
we would know that like I mean I wouldn't be casting Grease, but you would probably be casting Grease and you'd play a great Rizzo, just FYI. But
oh,
if
thank
we
you.
if we were casting Grease and we had to do we had to do the songs and kind of like what they had to do, knowing that it would be 10-year-olds who were coming to watch us, I think I would be like, but this isn't actually okay.
Yeah.
And does she, in the lyrics, that do they know that she
What
just, does this
pussy
little girl know
wagon
that she just,
means?
yeah, does she know she's just singing some innuendos, or just does she know, but
Yeah.
you do, you just do it. But it's just interesting.
There's so many like that. I was once in a performance of Fame, the musical, where there is
Oh
an
yeah.
entire song dedicated to someone having an erection. It's called Can't Keep It Down. That was cut because we were all 11 to 16. My character died of a drug
Yeah.
overdose. That was cut. I just was suddenly not in the play anymore. My song ended halfway through where I was like, oh, I'm
Oh,
in LA and everything kind of sucks. And then the song's meant to be like, sniffing coke off a businessman's butthole and stripping to make rent, and like that was cut. So I was like, why the fuck are we doing Fame? Why aren't we doing
like
the
what
Wizard
else
of
can you
fucking
do?
Oz or something? There's so many we could have
we
done.
we did Oklahoma at the age of like, yeah, I think I did Oklahoma at the age of 8. No, I must have been 10. Not happened when I was 10, clearly, but I think I must have been 10 or something. And I was A Duani at 10 years old. I was
Oh
singing
my
about how I
God,
can't say no
you can't say no.
at 10 years old. Like, what the hell? But I mean, what else are you going to do? There are no, but they need to write musicals for 10-year-olds, I guess. But then that
Yeah.
wouldn't be fun content. Like, no one would care about that.
No, but there's like the Charlie Brown musical, and there's a musical about like a spelling bee, and there's like the Wizard of Oz, and there's
Yeah.
so many musicals for children, and yet these schools were like, no, we're putting on the like do Annie, like do fucking
Yeah.
Annie and Oliver. They're
Yeah.
like kind of dark, but like still okay for kids, and a million roles, and any spare kids you have can just be orphans. Done.
Yeah.
But
True. It's
instead
very
they're
true.
like, let's do these vaguely adult musicals.
Yeah. It's
The children won't understand.
just mad. That's just crazy. I mean, no one should have to be a whore at 10 years old. Like, I just don't want to play a whore, like, or whore in inverted commas, you know.
Yeah, because you don't understand what you are at 10. Like the amount of times I went to see Les Mis and they would come on and be like, lovely ladies waiting for a bite, waiting for the customers who only come at night. And I'd be like, yes, lovely ladies. And then like
At
9
night.
years
Yeah, very-
later, I was like, oh, they're prostitutes. Oh, oh, did everyone else? Did you get? Do you understand?
No.
Oh, they're prostitutes. Oh, okay. And it's like, come on, Captain, you can wear your shoes. Don't it make a change to have a girl who can't refuse? And I'm like singing along to
Oh,
these lyrics at like age 7. Like,
no.
throw the
I
whore
think,
on the ground. Like, it's so mad.
and all the kids are like actually singing it with like all the gusto, like throw the whore on the ground, literally giving it their all. It's just like hilarious. But we did it.
Yeah, it didn't
We
hurt
did.
us.
No. Oh no, not at all. No.
Yay.
But
Yeah,
yeah, love
anything
Greece.
else to say about Greece? Yeah.
It taught me that it's okay to want to be cool,
Yeah.
No, I'm joking.
No,
No, that's a
honestly,
was no, but
I
I actually
think
wasn't cool. I think you
I
think I was a
think
cool
you
kid, but I
I
wasn't.
think you were. I think you were a cool
Well,
kid. I think you were way cooler
I
than me.
think I was no, I think what I was is one of those people that thinks they're really cool. So then everyone actually really hates them. I think maybe that was what it was.
No,
I'm not saying not
I think
I'm not trying to get sympathy. Just FYI, that sounded like it
no,
was,
but
but
I
I
think
think it was popular and I wasn't.
that's half the battle in high school, isn't it? I think if you assume this role of popularity, I think you sort of become one with it. And if you're like,
Mm,
I'm the cool kid, then people will adhere to that and be like, yes, they are the cool kid. Like, we don't pick our cool kids because we're actually in awe of their talent and imagination and
mm,
carelessness. We pick them because they almost establish themselves through their actions. They're like, we sit at the back, we throw paper and we disrupt the class. we
But
are the cool kids.
I think in my school that was actually the uncool thing to do. Do you know what I mean?
Oh,
I think
okay.
like it was like, oh my god, stop being so distracting, like you're so annoying. I think that's what it was. And it was like, oh,
Oh.
why is she in our group? We're not going to get any work done.
Oh no.
Like I think that was actually the vibe. Like I think I thought I was super cool, but like I just don't think I
Yeah,
was.
you were just the little
I think I had all of
rebel.
the makings. I think, yeah, I had all of the makings to be cool, but I think I was just in the wrong environment. Do you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah, for sure. You needed to be like 20 years older.
Yeah, or
Um,
just not at school,
yeah. Yeah, but
basically.
I
But, you know,
think I know you were sort of joking, but I think you've got a point, and I think again it's a testament to the popularity of Greece that it makes cool people, it makes you want to be cool. It makes you be like, that's cool. I like watching things that are
yeah.
cool. Like it's
But
just
it's
cool.
aspirational, isn't it? Like if
Yeah.
you want to, and you're like, oh, I want to have a group of friends like that, and I want to like be kind of like in this girl group and like flirt with the boys, and then every single one of the boys has one of the girls, and you have a big group of friends. Like
Yeah.
it's just cool, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, the sleepover, man. I don't think I've ever truly had a sleepover like that, and I want
Because
one.
they don't really
They
exist.
don't exist now.
No one sings. No one just like bursts the song anyway. And also it's like really rude to talk about someone when they're in the bathroom just like 1 meter away from you.
Oh my
It's just
God.
like that's never gonna happen. Are you
Like,
talking shit about me, Rich? Yeah,
she
yeah.
can hear
You know she is.
everything
You
you're
can hear her.
saying.
Yeah.
Like the walls
Yeah.
are thin.
Yeah.
Yeah, fucking hell.
But it's a great movie, and I have great memories. And I also think about my mum and her sister doing the same thing. Like my grandma told me that they
Yeah.
used to watch it all the time and they did the dances and stuff. And so I think that's why I started to
Oh.
first watch it. And so it's just nice.
It's like an heirloom. I hope it was the same one, the same version that your mum watched, because that's
Me too.
so cool. That's so
I think I'm gonna get that VHS because I know that my nan still has it. So I'm gonna
yes.
just get that just for good like just for memories and just to like
Yeah,
for sake. Because it's
definitely.
and then once I get it, I'll send you a picture of it.
Yes, please do.
Yeah.
Yes. Gotta see it. I gotta see that like old VHS box. I gotta see the potential like marking on the side of what it
Hmm.
is. Yeah.
But it'll be very worn out because I was like, put it in every day. Watch it again. Sit here and watch it with me, Dad. Nope. No. I've got some gardening to do, I'm sure.
Yeah, I've got to go look out the window in the other room for
Yeah,
1 hour and 50
it's
minutes.
driving me crazy. Yeah, turn the volume down. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, nice. That's so lovely. It's so perfect. It has the lovely nostalgia memories attached, and it is a fucking classic. Like it is an undeniable classic. Like you said, it was cult earlier. I think it goes beyond cult. I think it's just a classic. Everybody's
It's
seen
just,
it at least once. Everybody knows
yeah,
it.
everyone knows it. Everyone knows it.
You do the Grease Mega Mix at a disco, and if there's no Grease Mega Mix, you fucking fire that DJ.
Yeah, 100%. If you don't play it next time I see you, I'm gonna be very upset.
I want to play it on vinyl as well because that's how I used to listen to it. Let me just
Oh,
shove my
that's cute.
glasses
But next time
further
I
up
see
my
you, you're not
nose.
gonna have a vinyl player. You're not gonna have like a record player, are you?
I'll like bring one specially. We'll be like in a restaurant in the heart of London, and I'll be like, boof.
Then everyone gets up and just starts like putting grease in their hair. And it's like, oh my God.
Honestly,
It's
I
like they
think if
knew.
you started playing Grease at a restaurant, I think the reaction would be quite
It'd be
involuntarily
insane.
physical. I
It
think
would be
people would
100%.
be like, "Oh yeah, Grease." There would be some people that would be like, just start walking into oncoming traffic, but I think the majority of people will start
Yeah,
jiving
I agree. I
for
agree.
sure.
It's just so good. It's
So good.
brilliant. But yeah, you got to play it next time I see you.
Yeah, that's a promise.
Fab.
Yay! Thank you so much for coming on.
Oh, you're so welcome. I can't believe how much I've loved talking about Greece. I haven't spoke about it in so
Yay!
long.
Yeah, that's this space, man. You got to come and talk about your favorite
Oh,
things.
Chitty Chitty Bang Bang next. I've got a lot to say. And
Fuck
Calamity
yeah.
Jane, I've got a lot to say about that as well.
I love you. They're like my favourites. I watch Chitty Chitty Bang Bang every single New Year, and Calamity Jane is legitimately my favourite musical.
I mean, we have a Doris Day thing anyway. Like, we're both obsessed with her, right?
Oh my god.
But she,
A queen.
she is the queen. She's phenomenal, man. She's just amazing. I will talk about Calamity Jane until the cows come home. I used to watch that as a young girl, like, and no one else was watching Calamity Jane. As far as I was concerned, I was like basically ashamed. It's like, okay, you guys can all watch Roly Poly Oly. I'm gonna watch Calamity Jane now.
I'm gonna go watch fucking Howard Keel and Doris Day sing their little fucking hearts out in the old west.
Sarsaparilla, so good.
Bloody love it. So iconic.
Mm.
Yeah. Do you have anything to plug? Where can the people find you and your hilarious content?
Oh, I mean, you can yeah, just I'm Lily Demir on Instagram and on Twitter, and sometimes I post videos, but
Hilarious videos.
You can come watch or not. I don't mind.
Go and watch. I will post all the links in the description below.
Thanks, hon.
She's funny. Give her own like I was gonna say BBC Three like show, but what would you want? Do you want to be on BBC Three? Because that's just online, isn't it? You can have the BBC if you want.
Oh God, yeah. I mean, I'll take it. I'll take anything at this point. This is kind of like you want anything,
Channel 4.
But yeah,
You're more of a Channel 4.
I don't know. I think they're all good. All good.
Pros and cons for all.
Exactly. Some of my favorite comedies I've seen on Channel 4, and then some of recent I've watched amazing things on BBC as well.
Yes, I will post all of the links below in the description, so make sure to go and find Lily wherever you can, because you need her in your life. I'm telling you now. She's going to be the hot new thing any day now. She's already the hot new thing in my life. Not so much new.
Oh.
Anyway, I digress.
Hot old thing.
The hot current thing. Yeah. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you next time on Why This Film. Bye!
Bye!